Mic check, life check. With Haley Jensen. Hello, welcome back. Today we are discussing the newest epidemic, the bob epidemic. That's right. If you are on TikTok or have eyeballs and have looked around lately, every girl has a bob. And I would be lying if I didn't say I have an emotional wrecking tie to bobs. I've already mentioned it when I talked about my hair journey in the past, but when I was in second grade, my mom gave up on trying to fight me on doing my hair, so she, of course, gave me a bob. And this bob was atrocious. This bob scared friends away. I had no friends. I think it was just because I looked psychotic. I probably was miserable to be around because I was miserable because I had a bob. And I feel like the fact that most little girls with bobs are known to be like girly, and I was very much a tomboy, it just put me in a alternate universe, and I just was not happy. I hated that bob. I have so emotionally still have trauma from that bob. And the fact that now the entire world is saying everyone needs a summer bob, and I unfortunately can be influenced by social media and TikTok, I feel partial that I need a bob. But when I refer to said bob, the bob I had was a lot shorter, like up to my ears. I feel like the majority of bobs being shown on social media are lobs, so long bobs that are styled and look really pretty. Although I will say I've seen some like Gracie Abrams or Julian Huff looking bobs that are really short that some individuals can pull off as well. But I feel like you have to have a very like skinny, almost like sickly looking bone structure to make those ones look good. Like you have to be very naturally slender within every part of your body and soul. And that wouldn't work for me at all. Not that I'm like obese or anything, but like I just naturally got boobs for one. And so I feel like that kind of body type doesn't usually come with boobs unless they're artificial. But anyway, point being is I don't think a bob would work on me. However, I did recently take a face shape hairstyle quiz. And that, of course, is because continually on of the story trauma of my own causing of giving myself a slight haircut, slight trim about 8 weeks ago, where I cut the bits of my hair, including trying to give myself layers. And this was all because I feel like I tell this story like 50 times, but the very speed version, I once bleached my hair. And now that it is growing out with my virgin hair is all soft on top. The ends of my hair are very dead and dry and are not fun to be around. And so I wanted to cut them off. And so I took scissors and followed a YouTube video that made it look easy. And yeah, it was rough. But anyway, that was about 8 weeks ago. And so I have since been waiting anxiously for a next haircut, which thankfully is scheduled for next Friday. So I am very excited for the horrid chop that I did to myself to be resolved by my expert hair girl. And she is a sweetheart in herself because I texted her and told her what I had done, and she just replied, I have done that as well. Obviously, she was saying that to make me feel better, as she is an actual pro. So, thank you, hair girl. Love you lots. We'll see you next Friday. But I will not be cutting my hair into a bob because I know for a fact I would probably hate it, be miserable after realizing I do not look like Julian Huff or Gracie Abrams. And that's just what it is, you know? I think it's just a sad realization, and I will be the honest one when no one else will be. A lot of these videos that I see of women and girls saying, oh, just do it, blah, 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 hair grows back, whatever. And they do the before and after, and then the after is just, it doesn't look as good. I do not want to be the after. And so I am going to not choose the bob. And also, I guess there's a bit of a running, ongoing joke between my husband and I for when we were dating. He's just not interested in short hair on a girl. And keep in mind, we all know that if I wanted short hair, I would have short hair and he would still love me forever and always. But there was an ongoing joke that when we were dating, when I went to like my first haircut, I guess, when we were dating, he said, don't you dare cut your hair, and if we get married, I will divorce you. Which I know sounds like a red flag and very harsh, but with the previous knowledge of, and at the time of me having my second grade horror stories of my hair, I told him he did not have to worry about that. But I guess here we are, but not really, because I will not be getting a bob. If I were to get anything, it would be a lob, which even so, no, not about it, because I absolutely think that my hair would be able to be like Secret Lives Mormon Wives standard extensions if I gave it the chance to grow out. I have not given it that chance in a very long time. I would say like high school Haley age, because she has done many crazy things with her hair since then, and so I don't think I've given it the ample opportunity. The last time it's grown out to be really long was when it was bleached blonde, but of course it was being bleached, and so it has not had the healthy opportunity to have that opportunity. And so I think I'm just angry with it at this point, and that I just want to cut it all off for the bleach that is remaining, but I'm trying to go slow, and that's what my hair girl is going to fix. But besides that, the rest of the world, yes, they are getting bobs, and more power to them. I don't have the time and energy to style it daily, which it would mandate and require. I think it's kind of funny that a lot of women or people just say that the mom chop, which aka is also, I guess, the bob, is the go-to once you have kids. And I disagree. My baby / toddler, he never pulled on my hair as much as I thought that he would, thankfully, or I would, just brush it behind my shoulder and he wouldn't be able to reach it. So I think it's very dramatic when moms or pregnant women have that being told to them, like, oh, you're gonna want to cut your hair, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that's that accurate, to be honest. But being pregnant in general was the last time that my hair was as short as it got in a long time, because after I had my bleached hair, I dyed it pretty much overall dark, but we left out tiny bits for highlights, and that was when it was the darkest it had been since being bleached blonde. And that was right before we left for our cruise, which was supposed to be a honeymoon cruise initially, but then COVID happened, and so we ended up going on it like 2 or 3 years later. But I happened to be pregnant, so we just called it a baby moon cruise. And so I went on this cruise with my dark hair, but then it was also significantly shorter. And I think I requested that because of how hot it was, like outside temperature wise. And then that I was pregnant and I didn't want to deal with the long hair because I was just tired in general, on top of the bleach underlying that was there. And so I ended up cutting it pretty much just right below my shoulders, where my shoulders started, and it was pretty short. And I remember coming back from the haircut, texting my husband and being like a little shooketh, and especially because from what you know about him is that he's not a fan of the short hair. And so I texted him, I was like, it is a lot shorter, like a lot, than be prepared for, kind of thing. Funnily enough, we had a friend over at the time, and when I got back from the haircut, he's familiar and love him to death as a friend and as my husband's friend, because he is very stylish. And if he listens to this one today, I won't name drop you, but you know who you are. He's very stylish, and I trust his opinion on most everything. And I mean that, because besides my husband, who I will take his opinion first, but I will also take this friend as well, his opinion. And that's saying a lot because I don't take a lot of people's opinions. But anyway, so he thankfully talked me through it a little bit too, because it was a little bit shorter. It was kind of a vibe, but the thing that we don't talk about, Bruno, kind of, is that I was definitely chunkier. I had gained a lot of weight from being pregnant, as well as you basically are building a child, and so you have to build their house and their facilities and everything. And so you just get really swollen as well. But my face was a lot chunkier back then too, like, and round and inflamed. And so I'm sure it didn't look that good, but like, whatever. So that is another reason why I will not be cutting a bob because yes, hair grows back. However, if I am pregnant within the next year or so, I want to have my hair be longer and I don't want to have to deal with two insecurities. For example, because I've already had a child with this next pregnancy, I know for a fact I'm going to swell up and have a bump a lot sooner. That's just naturally what happens with your second kid versus your first. You can usually hide your bump pretty well, but the second one, because your body's already stretched out and knows how to do the whole having a baby thing, your body gets stretched out so much quicker and you're showing, and I would assume I'm going to look a lot more pregnant and just swollen looking. So I already know second time around it's going to be more emotional. I don't know. But if I don't have to worry about my hair being an awkward middle length on top of already feeling ugly, then great. We're going to run with that. So obviously, whatever haircut comes my way this coming Friday, not this Friday, next Friday, if it's a little bit shorter, that's okay. I have time to grow it out, but it will not be a bob. Might be a lob. Maybe I will come back and record in 2 weeks, and I will eat my words, and I will have gotten a lob. We'll see. I feel like I'm accidentally manifesting it, and that's going to be great for me, I guess. But we shall see, and I will report back. However, I feel like with everyone getting these bobs and lobs next, like this coming fall, it's going to be a trend to have long hair, guaranteed, because it's always like a harsh different ends of the spectrum for what is the new style. And it's funny because living in Utah, 10 out of 10, all these women, I'm going to make the prediction right now. Long hair is going to be in for this fall, which I live in Extension Central area. I live down the street from Jay-Z Hairstyles, but everyone and their dog are going to run out and get extensions, which one, super expensive, two, horrible maintenance, which is like literally the opposite for when it comes to being a mom. Like if you want easy, don't go get extensions because you're going to have to carefully wash like the top half of your scalp, and then you have to blow dry the extensions when they do get wet, and it just takes forever. Not that I know because I never had them, but I know enough to know that. But yeah, and just it's gonna be wild when that happens, and I will not be a part of it. That I can guarantee. But okay, because I think I mentioned very briefly that I took an online quiz regarding my face shape. I have an oval or maybe even like diamond face. And so according to the internet, I can pull off any hairstyle. So maybe the bob thing would work. However, right now in life with wrapping up breastfeeding and weaning my child right now, and then combined with not being pregnant / breastfeeding, trying to lose weight, my face and body are just constantly changing, which is why I cannot commit to a bob, because I just can't commit to the fact that my face can't look like amazing all the time. And so that's obviously out of the question. Obviously my hair is not going to get longer, so that's out of the question. So I guess the really only deciding factors is layers, which I think I've told the story once, but basically I'd gone to a Great Clips and the gal was like, do I want layers? And I was like, sure, I don't know what those are. And so then I think since then I've just been like, yeah, let's get layers because that's what you do. And I don't think, honestly, that they probably look that great on me. And so I'm 26 now. And so I've had an additional year since my front brain has developed, my frontal cortex or whatever it is. And I now think I understand that just getting layers is not the solution. And so I think we need to try long layers. I know I don't want just an all over, just same haircut length, because I know that's a little horse girl for me. But we're going to try the long layers scenario. And hopefully it looks good. The other cosmetic thing that's been on my mind lately, I feel like my life is a lie, quite honestly. And I always say this to people, I am very appreciative that I was born in the year and generation that I was born in, because I don't think I would be able to manage with the social media expectations of beauty and not knowing how to do any of it. I still don't know how to do any of it, but at least I can Google on TikTok how to fix things about myself, I guess. Not to like keep myself to the highest standard of beauty, but just that I feel like every time I discover something, it's just like an aha moment. For example, my entire life, I feel like I've struggled with my eyebrows. Like, I did fall into the trap of the 2016, like, not like, I didn't make mine super blocky, but I definitely filled mine in a little too much. So much that my mom had commented on it, which back then I was just like, you don't know what you're talking about, Mom. This is what, like, the trend is. But no, she was right looking back. And it was a little bit more harsh than I definitely should have, but thankfully it wasn't atrocious. It was just like a little bit like, whoa, you got some dark eyebrows there, friend. But the eyebrow scenario that I'm dealing with now is that after doing that face shape thing, I started getting TikToks on my For You page about face shape and like what eyebrow shape looks best for certain face shapes. And once again, oval diamond face shape. Apparently, I need to try straight eyebrows versus arched eyebrows, which, funnily enough, my eyebrows tend to not have like a crazy arch in general. And so I've always struggled trying to shape them to have an arch because they're like, hey fam, we don't have an arch. Stop trying that. But I have tried over the years and I feel like I always looked awkward, especially when I did fill them in with the arch look. And so once again, my aha moment is I should give the good old straight eyebrows a try. Which, if I were to have the most perfect straight eyebrows, my fantasy look girl would be the Padme Amidala eyebrows. She looks good, which obviously it is easy enough to look that good when you're Natalie Portman, but the funny thing is right before I made this realization, I had watched a TikTok tutorial on how to map your eyebrows, except for this eyebrow mapping tutorial was an effort to create an arch. So I think I kind of messed up my eyebrows even more throughout this process, and so I have to wait at least like a couple weeks now before I can try to reverse the mistakes that I made, because I have these like weird little funky eyebrow arches now. They're arched from like the lower part of my eyebrow, so it just kind of looks like they're bald and like kind of just have a weird look to them. So now that I'm staring at them in a mirror, I think I might go try to fix them after this. But basically what I've learned is I cannot be trusted around any sort of hair altering tools, whether that's scissors or maybe eyebrow plucker thingies, tweezers. So it could get ugly real fast, but you know, what's a girl to do when she's bored at home when her child's napping? Not doing anything efficient, of course, but I should, like laundry. However, I am struggling as well right now because there's so many shows that I want to watch, but the only time I'd be able to watch them is if I were sitting down doing laundry, right? Laundry shows, right? Not a hard concept. However, I feel like I'm still too distracted when doing laundry because I'll look down to like fold something whenever I'm folding, and then I feel like I missed whatever happened on screen. So my other solution would be to do that, like watch something at the gym. However, I don't have enough time at the gym because it's just so early in the morning. 4 a.m. club, first episode. You already know. But yeah, so I just am accepting the sad reality that until my children are old enough to entertain themselves or watch their own show, maybe that'll be the thing, is that I can just watch my show on my phone while they're watching like a Disney movie or something. And we could all spend time together. Not iPad kids. Showtime. That sounds weird. TV time. Movie time. To say that it's not like we won't do like actual activities and stuff. That'll just be like a dedicated like 2 hours of the day. Hour and a half. That sounds too long. 2 hours sounds too long. The standard runtime of your average Disney movie. So the other thing that is happening within Utah right now is the adjustment of the LDS garment, aka allowing women of the LDS church to now wear tank tops, because they changed kind of the standard of the undergarment that's worn throughout the religion. So now all these women are so pumped because now they can show their shoulders, which, keep in mind, I grew up in the religion, and so I am very well versed in all things, and I have my own opinion, like most people would. I wouldn't say I'm overly passionate one way or another because I was wearing tank tops before this was adjusted. When I was very highly active in the church and doing all the things, I didn't wear tank tops, and so when I first started to, it definitely was an adjustment, and it felt very, I don't know, like anti-prude, slutty, that I was showing my shoulders all of a sudden. No, it was just a different type of like uncomfortableness because I did not grow up wearing tank tops, especially because my mom was very anti that. And so it was just really weird too at first. And I think the other thing that I will say is that despite the ability or uncomfortableness, there's something to say about just wearing t-shirts that cover your armpits, because if you don't shave your arms all the time, underarms, then you have like these like spiky black hair coming out of your armpits. So I think there's something to say for t-shirts being comfortable for that reason, as well as if you have like sweaty armpits. I don't know. It's one of those OCD things for me where if I'm wearing a t-shirt like around the house, even like I don't have to worry about my nasty smelly arms getting on like the furniture or something. I don't know. If I'm not like sweating so profusely where it's getting everywhere. That sounds so nasty. But no, it's just something one less little thing I have to worry about, or like getting deodorant stains on if I'm like sprawling my arms out on, I don't know. Long story short, it just adds an additional like concern for being aware of where my armpits are laying slightly. Oh my gosh, what is she on? I don't know. But anyway, the point being is on TikTok now, it is such a wide spoken topic. And I think that it's absolutely just crazy the lengths of the women that are still within the church, but like heavily trained to be influencers on social media and making their content now about how they can wear these new outfits with these new tank garments. And the craziest thing that just makes me just very concerned for some of these women and their brain cells, but the fact that I don't think the tank top style is even available to these Utah women. So either they're getting them shipped from other parts of the world and they're paying for this like underwear, really, so that they can wear them and be ahead of the curve and so on trend, etc. And so it's wild to me that these women are getting underwear shipped illegally according to the standards of how they acquire said garment / special underwear. They're choosing to break the rules in that regard, but not choosing to just not wear the actual garment and just break the rules anyway. Because either way, you're breaking the rules, right? So the fact that they are just jumping through all these hoops to show off that they are a good Mormon and being stylish, but by also simultaneously breaking the rules to do so, is just a little wild to me. You know what's even more wild is that you have some girls advertising / renting out their said underwear. And when I say this, it is the top that they're renting out. So basically, if you're confused, it is, think of like how some guys wear just like a plain white undershirt underneath. If they're wearing like a white formal shirt, they'll wear just like a white undershirt or whatever. Think of that. Same concept, but for women underneath their clothing, whether they're wearing it over or under their bra, that's up to them. That used to be a whole like discourse thing that it was only appropriate for you to wear it under your bra. But then it came out that it's okay to wear it over your bra. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But regardless of bra placement, they are wearing this next to their body, which means it's going to get naturally sweaty and gross. And if you're going to be normal, I'd say most people would only wear the garment top or whatever bottom one per day, or until it gets sweaty. If that's multiple a day for you, then great. But that's kind of the standard. So it is just bonkers to me that they are renting out if they only have one of these tank tops to other girls so that they also too can bask in the glory of following the commandments that the church has provided for their garment wearing usage, but being able to wear a tank top while wearing a garment like that's just so weird. Like, I get it's not maybe on the lower half private areas where it's not as gross, I guess, but like it's still kind of gross. it's I don't know. I wouldn't share a bra with another girl. That's just weird. Like, you're gonna sweat in the garment too. Like, I don't know. Anyway, it is crazy the length that women go to, I should say Utah women, or I guess other women throughout the world or the States, I guess, might be doing this as well. But I know for a fact Utah is, because I keep seeing it all over my TikTok page. And I think that's why TikTok does push the content to me, because it's like, hey, you're going to think this is wild. Like, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed or anything, but it's just very unique to me. But I will let them do what they want to do, because it's not my circus, not my monkeys, but the circus do be crazy. The other thing that the church has been in hot water for, I guess, is that they have been marketing to influencers and paying them to share their testimony and I guess invite others to come unto Christ, per se. And that the fact that this got out was because an influencer was sharing that they had been approached by the church to do that very thing. And I also think that's a little wild, although it's not uncommon. I was seeing a girl talk about this because she had worked for the church in the past or something, and that obviously the church is a business and all businesses have marketing, and they're just doing what the rest of the world is doing regarding influencers. And so obviously that's not like that crazy. I think the reason why people think it's crazy is just because they are assuming that the church is telling these influencers, like, hey, you need to make sure that, like, to convince other people and persuade them and, like, just kind of almost like mind trick them and just gaslight them into thinking one way about the church or something. I don't know. But the fact that they're getting paid for it, I think, is what makes people like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. That's crazy. When in reality, it's just like they are a business too, but for that reason, it just feels more icky because it's supposed to be more religion-based / business money-making. And so I think that's pretty wild too, but I will say that the church is doing better with, like, staying with the times, but they will always be chastised no matter what for their way in doing so, because most churches wouldn't be doing that. But that's its own messy thing. I don't know enough about it, so I can't get into it as much, but that's just my general take on it. I think it would be more interesting if you had a influencer that wasn't religious all of a sudden jumping out and being religious. I haven't personally seen that yet, but maybe it's out there, so you feel free to tag me or DM me if that's the case. But despite the garment-wearing individuals, Utah is going through a heat wave right now, so whether we're going to see more shoulders illegally or not, we are about to find out, because, yes, there's a heat advisory right now, and apparently it's supposed to, I don't know if it'll get up to 100 degrees, but it's supposedly going to feel like it, so that's exciting. We love that. It's more fun to try to figure out things to keep a toddler entertained indoors during this heatful time, so that's fun. Wish us luck. Popsicles are our best friend. But we did go to the park today for a library event, which was pretty fun. We have met some cute gals that through this library reading storytime program, and that's a lot of fun. However, I do wish that the local pool would open earlier. The pool opens to the public around like 12:30, I think. And it's really annoying because, like, he sleeps at like 1, and so if we were to go to the pool, it's gonna have to be after nap time, and by the time we would want to, like, be ready to be at the pool, an hour or so my husband would be home, and so I was like, it's not worth it. And so kind of a bummer, but that's okay. On the 4th of July, maybe we'll be able to go to the pool because it opens up earlier. My husband doesn't have to work, and we could have a fun time, potentially. But overall, it's gonna be hot, so So naturally, I love going to the pool, and my little boy loves it as well. And obviously, the only thing stopping me, I think, from indulging myself in a large body of water daily also has to do with hair, of course, is that I hate washing my hair. It is such a daunting task, especially the longer it gets. So by that argument, that would be the only reason why I would ever cut it shorter. But then I'm always miserable with it as well, that it's not worth it that I cut it short because then I don't know, I just don't like it. Anyway, but one of the most game-changing things lately that I've discovered is how to kind of work with my hair a little bit better, but let me explain. So whenever I, in the past, would wash and dry my hair, over the years, and I'm talking like decades of years here because I'm 26, and when I was younger, I feel like when you're younger, your hair just isn't, I don't know, it's just not as obnoxious. It dries quicker. It's just an overall happier, healthier hair. But then when I was in high school, that was when I feel like it was a little thinner. Not that I was like bald or anything, but like each individual strand I feel like was a lot thinner. Don't ask me how it works because I don't know. But then in college, would I would still be very low maintenance, like early college, and just wash dry really quick. Things I wasn't doing a lot of products. Okay, fast forward to when I started doing all my hair crazy stuff, especially bleaching it. And this also was the age of TikTok influencing myself. And so I, of course, like most people during that time, was interested in the Olaplex line because everyone was talking about it. I'm sure there's a lot of sponsorships, whatever. And so oh my gosh, looking back, I must have spent so much money on all these like Olaplex hair products. I am gasping at the thought of it. Anyway, so I use them though. Do I like them? I think they are good for bleached hair. I don't think they are needed whatsoever for regular virgin hair. I mean, maybe I guess specific to hair type. Mine definitely did not need it. But for when I had bleached hair, I feel like it probably did help. I also used K18 or K18. That really helped when I had really like gummy, like brittle, stretchy, bleached, poor dying hair. The K18 was like my best friend. I honestly haven't used any of their other products. And so if you want to send me some K18, I'll happily try them out. But as for right now, we're just kind of keeping things a little more simple. My favorite shampoo and conditioner is, once again, I have been influenced, is the Dream Lengths L'Oreal. For many years, I didn't use that one, but I used the EverPure line, especially like the Rosemary, the green one. One, smells great. Two, the quality for that one specifically that it targets is for thickening hair, which, like I said, I wasn't bald or anything. My hair strands weren't like super thick or super thin. They were just very average, but I just wanted like more thicker hair, I guess. And so I kid you not, I swear this L'Oreal Everpure Thickening Shampoo Conditioner works. I have put other people on it and it has made their hair thicker. They have replied and wrote back. I talked to them later after they followed me up on it, and they said, yeah, my hair is thicker. Even my hair girl that cuts my hair around that time, I said something to her about it and she's like, well, your hair does seem thicker. And I'm like, aha, I am not crazy. So 10 out of 10, if you are struggling with any sort of hair thinness issues or want your hair a little thicker, feeling, whatever, try the L'Oreal Everpure Thickening Shampoo Conditioner. Thank me later. So besides that, I used that for a time, and I swear it actually did get to a point where I stopped using it because I was then going to my hair girl and saying, hey, will you thin out my hair? I asked for that one time a little bit because my hair was so heavy. And looking back, to be honest, it's just truly, a lot of the time didn't know what to ask for. If I were to ask for that same kind of concept now, I think it's called like reverse invisible layers or something like that. So like they are hidden within, so you don't like see the layers, but they're like on the under part of your hair, so it's thinner. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably what I should have asked for back then. Not that I came out atrocious looking or anything, but that's probably what I should have asked for back then. But anyway, so then after I used that for a minute, I used interchangeably like the Olaplex. I used the Kirkland Costco dupe for Pureology shampoo and conditioner, which that's always a good solid like go-to. I feel like my hair like gets clean, and I like the smell and the texture and the consistency of the shampoo and conditioner. It's just like the avocado based one. It comes in the big purple and white bottles. But so yeah, that's always a good two for interchangeably. And then I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. I tried using like a couple like Amika masks and stuff because people were like raving about them, which brings me to my point. My point being, I swear like 2 or 3 months ago, I was seeing girls and people talk about doing a hair density test with the float method, which basically you fill up a cup of water and then you pluck 1 or 2, 3 strands of your hair, and it needs to be clean hair. So like right after you wash in the shower your hair, and you take your hair strands and then you put them in the water and you give it like I think 5 minutes or so, up to like 30 minutes, and you watch what the hair does. Either it can float, or it can suspend in the kind of middle, or it can sink. And I believe mine was like kind of in the middle / floating. But anyway, it just meant that my hair was, I can't remember if it was low or high porosity. I just know that it means that my hair hates water. It takes a lot of work to like wash my hair, and then my hair doesn't absorb product well. I think that means it's low porosity. I believe that's what it is. But so yeah, so which was kind of funny, like after having had like my mega bleached hair, which I'm sure affected the porosity because I was able to use all those Olaplex products. And when I talk about all of them, I mean like number, I think 3, 4, 5, and then 7 or 6, 7, 8, and 9. Like I literally have some of these still. But yeah, because I remember the 3 is like the pre-washing one, and then 4 and 5 is shampoo and conditioner. 6 is the oil. Well, actually 6 or 7 is the oil ones, the cream, whatever, and you mix them together. I'm just going off of my memory from TikTok back then. And then like there was like a 9 serum one, and I still have a lot of them. I'm sure they're probably expired, but whatever. I'm sure they still work to an extent. But anyway, point being is that back then when my hair was bleached, it was okay that I did all this because the porosity was so dry in my hair that it would like absorb all this and it would work. But nowadays, if I try it, because a lot of my hair is grown out and it's back to my virgin hair, so like normal low porosity, I just cannot deal with that amount of products. I can barely handle like 1 or 2. And that's been kind of the secret to my success lately, is that I feel like a lot of girls' routines they say, or like influencers will be like, oh, and then I put this on my hair when it's damp, and then I put this and this and this. Yeah, my hair would never be getting dry because it's like putting a shield on my hair pretty much and blocking the, like if I were blow drying it to dry it, because it has all these like shields up, and then my hair would just stay wet and greasy kind of looking and just impossible to dry and take forever. So if you are not familiar with your hair porosity and you are dealing with these things, give it a try, and then just Google how to best take care of your type of hair porosity, because it was a game changer for me. And I am a happier gal now that I'm not fighting my own hair, and that's been a nice little change for me. The other things that have been definitely helpful and game changing for me is just being smart with type of brushes and combs that I use. So for the longest time, since I think I was probably like in elementary or early middle school, everyone would rave about the wet brushes all the time. And I had quite a few. I had at least 3 or 4, especially because I danced, and so I usually had a couple extra spares for dance bags and whatnot. And the thing that I always was so frustrated with them, and if you've had one, you know, they just get all this gunk up in like the top of the bristle where that little ball pinhead is, and it looks like it's like a cumulative dust / hair, dry scalp / oil. I think it's called sebum. Sebum. that just accumulates, and there's no way to clean these brushes. Like, you can try to rip out the hair and whatever, but it doesn't target those like little areas that gather, and I think it's so nasty. I feel like Wet Brush is in desperate need of a revamp for their design. I don't know if they have, maybe they have, and I honestly don't know, or I wouldn't know because I have not used a Wet Brush in a long time because of it. I've just been very turned off with the design, as well as, once again, your girl was influenced throughout the pandemic when a lot of girls were talking about the Tangle Teaser brushes, which, yes, I am a big fan of Tangle Teaser. Sponsor on the pod, please. Your girl can never have too many brushes, but they are wonderful. They are the biggest life hack to, I'd say, growing your hair out, for one, because you're not ripping out your hair every time you comb your hair. You can clean these brushes. They have no buildup because the way that their little, I guess, prongs, or the teeth on the brush, or they don't collect that kind of like oily area because they don't have like the little balls in the end. They're just like kind of points. And so you can clean the brush well. So I am a very big fan of Tangle Teaser products. And I think I got a comb maybe from them too. No, I think that was a wet brush comb, but it didn't have the same issue as the brush did. So it ended up being okay. But yes, big fan Tangle Teasers, and I will say, if you are trying to grow your hair out, that is a life hack as well. The best part is you can use this brush wet or dry. Like, either way, it's going to work really well. And although I have a son right now, if I have a girl, her first brush is gonna be a Tangle Teaser brush. But it's funny because my husband doesn't have like super long hair or anything, just longer, but he was gifted one of my old Tangle Teaser brushes because I got like a new one that was for like breakage thin hair when I was blonde. Not that I was like worried about the original standard one not being good enough for it, but I just was being cautious, and I think I had some like extra money on a gift card or something that I was wanting to buy something on Ulta, and so I ended up buying like another Tangle Teaser brush, but it was for specifically like damage / like thin breakaged hair, which, once again, I was bleached at the time, so made sense. But it was gifted my old one, and he uses it every day, and he loves it too. Like, not that he has any crazy tangles because he has shorter hair, but he loves it. So the fact that my husband signs off on it as well can tell that we both love it. So besides my brush, I will say, during the pandemic, once again, obviously I had a lot of hair growth through the pandemic because there wasn't a lot to do, but I ended up getting a Dyson Airwrap back then, and it was funny because it was one of like the first models too, so it's kind of discouraging because all of the newer models that come with like super bougie attachments, and it makes me sad because it's like, I love the one I have and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like one of the first like generations, and so all the attachments are like small and tiny and just like not as cool, but I still love her. She's the Dyson, what is it? It was like the bronze and dark blue. It's not Monaco blue. What is it? I don't remember what it is, but it was like a dark blue one. It was like a special edition, and it's super pretty. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, that was my life hack when I was bleached blonde, because I would never, ever, 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 ever put an actual like curling iron, hot titanium, whatever, rod on my hair to curl it. I would solely use the Dyson Airwrap air curler things. And once again, my hair girl all the time, she was like, your hair is so healthy. Like, even when I was bleaching it. And I'd curl it, but with the Airwrap. And then one of the jobs I worked at too, I was in retail at the time. And I remember this one instance where a woman that I was checking out, or I was her cashier, and she commented, she's like, is that like all your actual hair? And I was like, yeah. And I understood very quickly. She thought that my hair was extensions, which, as you know, I have never had extensions. And so she's like, really? And like, she was so shocked. Oh my gosh, I just remembered what I was doing at the time. So besides the whole curling with the Airwrap thing, I saw on TikTok a girl that did this method, and I think must have been a trend at some time, because I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember like a ton of people doing it. But basically, you just take a just super cozy sock. What are those called? Like, they're kind of like the Barefoot Dreams material, or just like fuzzy socks, right? Take one of those, and then either like a scrunchie or a hair tie over it. But basically, you'd like gather all of your hair in a ponytail, but then put your hair in the inside of the sock. But before you did that, you could put like hair oils or cream or whatever, and this would be to sleep in it overnight. I still do this. Sometimes I'm lazy and I won't. But if I am not lazy and I'm trying to be proactive about keeping my hair healthy and luxurious, which I try to a lot of the time now when I have energy, but I will put like a hair oil or hair cream, and then I'll do this, but with the little fuzzy sock thing. So I did that back then, and I explained it to her, and she, like, I could tell she thought I was crazy / also a genius. So there you have it, the secret to my success. But it honestly, it worked back then. Like, it's crazy to think what my hair was like back then. I'll have to find a picture and post it in a photo dump. But the length that it was and the thickness that it was for being bleached was just unreal. And maybe that's why I quit so quickly of being blonde. I mean, I was blonde for a time, like bleach platinum blonde, but I got sick of it really quick because it was so emotionally draining and physically draining to wash my hair and dry it. Because I'd wash it, and then in the shower, like normally with regular like virgin hair, you are able to use conditioner and your hair is nice and it's slippery and sleek, and you can like feel like you're actually getting somewhere with it. When my hair was bleached, it was just like a glob, and trying to wash it, it would just get more and more tangled, and it like made me want to cry internally while I was washing it. And then I'd get out of the shower and then got to deal with my tangled glob of hair and try to dry it. And that was also my secret, was that I would just dry it completely. Like, I would not even touch a comb with it. Right after I got out of the shower, took it out of the towel, and I would just immediately start with my Dyson Airwrap hair dryer on it, and I would just blow dry the clump. And then once it was like majority dry, I would take one of like a wide tooth comb and pick at it from the very bottom and work my way up, and then like separate it into two when I could, like kind of middle part down the back scalp of my scalp. And then I would slowly add like a detangler, because as I guess I kind of knew what was going on, because this was before I figured out the hair porosity thing. But then I would do, actually around then I was doing K18. I was doing it all the time. I was learning as I went, but I remember doing K18 with that, which that was crazy too, because I believe with the K18 stuff, it was you had to wash your hair with shampoo, but you couldn't use conditioner. And so then you'd use the K18, but then it'd be like you couldn't wash it out. Yeah, it was this whole thing. Anyway, that, my friends, is why I refuse to be bleach blonde. If I were to ever enter an era of wanting to be bleach blonde again, I will buy a wig. I kid you not. Next time, if you ever see it, it will be a wig. Or I will have to dispel these wig rumors and it will actually be my real hair. No, there's no way. Especially with being a mom, it is not worth it. I have time to wash my hair regularly, as simply as I can, as is. So it was time though. I'm happy I did it, just to say that I was blonde. I can't say I never did it, but it was a wild time. But it also did wash out my face a lot. Like, looking back, and I had asked my husband about it, and he's just like, yeah, it washed your face out a little bit. Like, I like you better as brunette. But he did meet me as a brunette and date me. So there's that whole like love theory of guys usually, whoever they fell in love with, like hair color wise, that's who they will always kind of like prefer. And so I'm happy that's just my natural hair color, because that's really easy and cheap. So, and my preference as well. But you never know. Maybe we'll switch it up in the future. But yeah, that's probably it for today. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter of a podcast, just because I've just been yapping about hair, bobs and lobs and everything in between. But If you enjoyed today's podcast, please give it a little 5-star. I would appreciate it so much. We were just getting up and going here, and it has been so fun to record. We're officially at like episode number 13 or something. Ooh, looking over 13. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. But it has been so fun to just talk about all the things, and I would love it if you could help just support by giving a little 5-star or sharing the podcast. If you have any friends that are looking to look for podcasts, share Mic Check, Life Check with them. I'd appreciate it so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.